Hi and welcome to another episode of LPPTV. I'm Claire Brummell, the Relationist, creator of Love, Polarity and Passion.com. And I promised you on a recent episode of LPPTV that I would explain what on earth is going on here. What am I doing in Costa Rica? What am I sharing you this video with this gorgeous background of the mountains for? Why am I here? And what on earth has it got to do with you and your relationship? Well, I'm very excited to share that because of the way that I have designed my business and because of the way I work with clients all over the world, and I don't need to be in a specific location. So my partner and I have decided we're going to go on a bit of an exciting adventure, and we've decided that we're going to start house sitting around the world, where I can share videos from you from wherever we are. I can work with my clients wherever we are. But we can experience the world together. We can travel, we can get to see different countries, get to see different cultures, and get to have a new experience by sharing this traveling experience around the world. And don't panic, as I said, I've had clients of mine, when they've realized where I am, call me up and say, oh my goodness, you're still gonna be there, you're still gonna be working, aren't you? Yes, I'm still working with my clients because, as I said, my clients are based all over the world. It doesn't matter where I am, I can work with anybody from anywhere. But the thing I want to share with you today is, what on earth has this got to do with you and your relationship? Well, there are two things that will make you learn the most about yourself. Number one is getting into a relationship. Number two is traveling. So when you're traveling with somebody else, you are going to learn a lot about yourself. And there are going to be some challenges that are coming up along the way. I've learned from the research I've done that a huge number of couples actually separate either on the holiday or immediately when they get off. A vast number of couples are arguing almost every single day when they're traveling. Doesn't matter whether it's a short vacation, whether it's a little city break, or whether it's actually that they're traveling like we are for an extended period of time. Now, traveling can be a bit intense. You're in a different environment, things are new, you're not necessarily sure of the lay of the land, you don't necessarily know the culture, you don't necessarily know the language, and so it can be a little bit stressful. So the question I want to answer today is, how do you travel with a partner? How do you travel with somebody else without it completely destroying your relationship? Well, this is a great question, and this is something that friends of mine approached me and asked me about because they are constantly traveling for their business. They're on a 365 a day, a year traveling tour. They're constantly moving from place to place, and they realise actually that it's been a big thing, and they've had some experience. It's really tested their relationship, and they've had some experiences as a result of that, and they wanted me to be able to share with other people how you can travel without it creating a big challenge in your relationship. Well, the thing to remember about this is, as always, one of the crucial keys to this is communication. It's talking, and then talking some more. But the thing that I find is really, really powerful when you're going on some kind of traveling experience, when you're going on some kind of trip, is to actually do the conversations before you leave. Quite often what happens is people get to their destination, they get to wherever it is they're going to be, and it's only then that they start to deal with some of the potential challenges. The challenge is that they're already in the environment, they're already feeling unsettled, they're already in an unknown, unfamiliar place, they're already in a situation where maybe they're in one place with each other for a fixed amount of time, and there's less opportunity for them to get space and go to different places. They're in a position where maybe they don't speak the language, so they don't have that support around them. And the challenge is that when you deal with a potentially problematic situation, under those kind of conditions, the conversation is harder to have. People's emotions are heightened, it's more stressful, and actually the conversation may not go as well. So what I invite you to do is actually to have the conversations about the potential areas that you might need to have, or you might have some challenges in, before you leave. Actually think about what kind of trip you're going to have before you go. Think about, what do you think some of the challenges are that might come up? What are the things you might need to work out before you leave, so that when you get there, it's already handled, it's already dealt with, you don't have to worry about it anymore. So my invitation to you is to communicate way before you leave. In fact, even before you book your trip, before you even think about where it is you're going to go, when you're going to go, actually have the conversation about what kind of trip you want to have, what are the potential challenges that you might face along the way, and how can you deal with that before you go? How could you actually design your trip and your vacation, your holiday, so that it doesn't create those challenges? Design it so that you work for what works for both of you, not for what works for one person who's booking it and the other person that comes along and thinks, hang on a second, this doesn't really work for me. So it's about firstly communicating before you leave, and if possible before you even book. The second thing to remember is to continue to communicate while you're there. Part of the challenge is that when you're in an unknown environment, people don't want to cause problems, especially on a holiday. It's like, it's our holiday, we want to relax, we want to have fun. So if there's something that's kind of creating a little bit of a niggle, we don't want to bring that up because we don't want to create any problems. The challenge you have with this is that that niggle builds and it grows and it adds to other niggles and it adds to other things. And that's why a lot of people, when they're traveling, experience these big blowout arguments, because it's not actually that there's a huge big problem. What happens is all the little things that haven't been talked about that all come tumbling out in one go, that all come flooding out in one go. So what I encourage you to do is, when there are things that come up as you go through your trip, is address them. Because if you deal with it at the time where it's not a big problem, there's not a lot of emotion, you've not sat on it and stewed on it for a period of time, it actually becomes an easier conversation. There's less charge, there's less stress about it, and normally you can handle it in a really easy way. So if there's something that's bothering you or something you want to figure out, you want to ask a question about how things are going to work, or you've noticed something that's happening and you'd really like it if something could happen in a different way, ask your partner for some help as and when it happens. Have the conversation as and when it happens, and it doesn't build and it doesn't become this big explosion that then happens and feels like it's ruined the trip. So as I said, I got asked by friends of mine to put together a trip, a kind of a guide, if you like, to traveling with a partner, to traveling with another person, whether it's a partner, whether it's a friend, whether it's a family member, doesn't really matter. I got asked to put together something that would actually help and benefit people if they're going on a traveling experience, to have a great traveling experience and have it improve and enhance their relationship rather than create challenges and arguments. So if you're interested in finding out more about this, I've put a link to the product underneath. It's called Traveling Together, and it's got 3 main component parts to it. Well, 4 main component parts to it. The first is a Traveling Together checklist. So where I've talked about all the things that you want to talk about on your trip, it goes through all of the potential areas that could create challenges, all the things you want to talk about before you go on your trip, so that things are handled before you even get there. You then have your Traveling Together checklist. These are the hot tips and topics, the top 10 things that are going to help enhance your relationship and create more connection when you're traveling, rather than creating disconnection and arguments. I've thrown into there a Traveling Together survival tool. This is the one thing that when you have those difficult situations come up on board is a godsend. It's an absolute lifesaver, and I've had so many clients who said that literally this tool has helped them save their relationship. So if you do have any potential challenges that come up while you're away, you've got the tool that will enable you to handle it. And the fourth and final part of this, which I think is amazing, is I've got interviews with some fantastic, well-seasoned travellers from different kinds of walks of life. I've got one person who is single and who looked to connect with other people on their trip. I had somebody else who's in a long-term partnership and they were looking at short vacations. I had somebody else who has travelled both with partners and on their own. And I have had another couple who are a fantastic couple I mentioned earlier. They're the people who are travelling 24/7, 365 days a year. They've got a travelling lifestyle, and they're sharing their tips, their advice, their guidance and their experience. And I can't tell you some of the gems that have come out of those interviews that are right there for you to benefit from. And the most important one, the one that I think is fantastic, is why is foreplay so important to travelling together? And I'm going to leave that for you. If you want to find out more about that, click on the link below and you can go and see and check out the Travelling Together product and see if it's of interest to you. But in the meantime, I'd like for you to help me to share this by tweeting the love. And that is, in order to prevent challenge when you're traveling, make sure you communicate. In order to prevent challenges while you're traveling, make sure you communicate. I'd love to hear from your experiences about this. What have your experiences of traveling with a partner been? What have your experiences been of traveling with somebody else and dealing with challenges while you're away? Has it created these big explosive arguments? Have you been in a situation where you've actually separated with somebody after going on holiday because there were so many problems while you were away? I know I've had that situation where we went away and it just didn't work, and when we get back, actually we decided to go our own separate ways. And if I'd known about these things in advance, it wouldn't have created those challenges. Maybe you've been in a situation where you have done the talking thing way before the trip and it's improved and enhanced things for you. You've actually got more out of the trip and you've enjoyed it more as a result. I'd love for you to share your comments and questions underneath this video, because I know there are other people watching this who could benefit from your advice and from your input and insights. Did you enjoy today's video? If so, I'd love for you to subscribe to us here on YouTube, and please share this with other people. As I said, this is a major challenge that people have, is how to handle their relationship while they're traveling together. I've had personal experience with this where it's actually destroyed relationships traveling together and not knowing how to do it in a way that's going to work for us. I know a lot of other people who they've had major trouble when they've been away, and it's actually ruined their trip because they didn't deal with these things in advance. So I please encourage you to share this with other people who could benefit from knowing how to prevent these kind of challenges and arguments and disconnections while you're away, and actually to have your relationship and your traveling enhance each other and make everything even better. So please share this via Facebook, Google+, Twitter, however you want to share it with a friend who you think could benefit from hearing about this. And if you enjoyed today's video, then sign up for updates on lovepolarityandpassion.com, where you'll get the free video series, you'll get every episode of LPPTV sent directly to your inbox, so you'll never miss anything. You'll get articles, you'll get a couple of other surprises thrown in for good measure. I hope you've enjoyed today's video as much as I've enjoyed sharing it with you. I can't wait to speak to you again really soon. And as always, in the meantime, remember to be the love you want in your life. I'll catch you next time.